Welcome to Innovation Dialogue. I'm Diana Ding. Today we're with our mayor, Lisa Gillmor, Santa Clara mayor. Hi, Lisa. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. Thank you for having me, Diana.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for coming to our show. So Lisa is the fourth generation of Santa Clara residents, and she served on the Santa Clara City Council from 1992 to 2000, and then from 2011 to 2016. He was appointed as a mayor in 2016 and then elected as the mayor in 2018. Right now, she's re-elected for mayor.
Yes.
That's wonderful. So you are the native Santa Claran. What was it like growing up in the city?
Wow, that's an amazing question because Santa Clara has changed so much from the time I was young. When I was growing up here in Santa Clara, I grew up right near Lawrence Expressway and El Camino Real.
Very close to here.
Very close to here,
Yeah.
very, very close to here. And it was there were a lot of orchards in Santa Clara. And so it was just the beginning of all the developments of the housing. There was a lot of ranch-style housing developed in the city. But it was just so completely different. There was a lot of open space, a lot of orchards, and it was just a city that was just starting to sprout and come alive. So it was really the beginning of the redevelopment of this entire area.
Wow, that's wonderful. You know, our company has been in Santa Clara for almost 14 years. It's a long time.
Wow, 14?
Yeah,
wow,
yeah, it's
that is a long time.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Yeah.
And also, your father was the first elected mayor of Santa Clara.
Right. When I was 6 years old, he was elected to the city council. He was a neighborhood advocate, and he was fighting some type of development or something in the neighborhood, and that's what sparked him to get involved in city government. So he ran for city council, and then he ran for mayor when I was 9 years old.
Wow.
So at that time, Santa Clara had a rotating mayor. Like some of the cities, they have mayors that serve for 1 year, and then another council member rotates in. But Santa Clara put something on the ballot, which was pretty advanced at the time, to have a directly elected mayor. And so my father was the first directly elected mayor in Santa Clara 50 years ago.
Well, a long time ago. So when you were a kid, you watching him. Have you had an idea at that time and you want to become a mayor?
No, I had no idea that I would even be where I am today. When I was young, there was 4 of us, and my mother passed away when I was 7 years old, very suddenly. And so my father didn't have a lot of, he didn't have babysitting opportunities. So what he would do was, whenever he had events that were after hours or the weekend, he would take all of us with him. So I was at swim center, international swim meets, I was at ribbon cuttings, I was at park openings, and believe me, back in the 60s and 70s, there were a lot, that's when Santa Clara was really developing and growing. So I got to see the city from the eyes of a child. And I saw the area develop. And so that's when I started to think, wow, everybody must do this. That was just part of my life, that we were involved in the city in many different ways.
It's really the part of your life. It's like your family tradition to serve the community, right?
Yeah, and I didn't know it. When I graduated from college, I wanted to be a criminal attorney.
Oh.
A bilingual criminal attorney. I minored in Spanish, so that's what I wanted to be. And so I took a gap year after college, and I ended up in real estate. That's my other job. But I started to be involved in the community and applied to be a Parks and Recreation Commissioner. So that's really where I started as a young person to really get involved in the city.
Yeah, actually, you're involved in many community outreach, like Park and Recreation Commissioner and Santa Clara City Council and Tax Assessment Appeal Board Member and Mayor. So what role or assignment have you enjoyed the most, and why?
I've had a lot of interesting experiences in different committees and commissions. I started with the Parks and Recreation Commission, and I served there for 10 years, and I really got to know the city that way. And then I ran for public office when I was 28 years old, and I lost by 100 votes.
Oh,
I lost.
Only 100.
I lost by 100 votes, and it was tough at that time because we had only had 3 women on the council at the time. Back in it was 1988. We only had 3 women on the council, and I was very young at the time. And it was interesting when I would knock on doors, people would tell me, why are you doing this? Why aren't you married, having children? What do you? It was a whole different time. It's hard to it's hard to imagine that
Women
right
are
now.
supposed to,
right? You're
yes.
supposed to be doing this, and
Yes.
why are you doing this? And
Yes.
you're single, and what's going on with you? So it was a whole different time. But what that did, it really sparked something in me that said, okay, well, I can't run on my name because my father had been mayor. I can't run on my name. I have really no experience except Parks and Recreation Commissioner. So I started applying to be on different committees and commissions. So I was on the Roads Commission for the county. I was on the Tax Appeals Board for the county. I had all different kinds of assignments. I really think that being involved in the city assignments, I love being a Parks and Recreation Commissioner. I thought it was fantastic. It was fun. It was at the time when I was a commissioner, one of my fellow commissioners started the Arts and Wine Festival. And I know everyone here
I
in
was
this
there.
area.
Yeah, I love it.
We just had our 25th anniversary
Yes.
of the Arts and Wine Festival, and I was on the commission where Tom Barrett started that. So it was at a time where we were doing some real innovative things, and I think I really enjoyed that the most.
You are seeing our city, have so many great things and great people here. So talking about our city, and we know there's so many issues. What are your priority? Give us 3 of them.
Okay, so since I was elected as mayor in 2018, I've really spent the 3/4 of my term working on the pandemic. And so it was a really challenging time for us, and it's still challenging as we all recover from the pandemic. I know many businesses are trying to recover, so's the city. So my first priority as mayor is to recover from the pandemic, both financially and also with the supplying of city services. We're not quite where we are in terms of opening our doors full time in all of our facilities, like our senior center and our libraries and our city hall. So my goal is to get everything opened, and running at full speed like we were before the pandemic. Also, to deal with our budget issues that have been, not taken care of in terms of the loss of the sales tax and the loss of our hotel tax was huge during the pandemic. So trying to make up for that as well. So that's one big thing, but it's recovering city services, recovering from the pandemic financially, and getting Santa Clara back to where we were in providing services to our residents. Our residents have high expectations of us, and they should, because Santa Clara, unlike a lot of other cities surrounding us, we really supply high quality services to our residents. And so I think that's a big priority for me. I'm going to say 3 rolled into 1.
Wonderful. So surviving from the pandemic, I feel like, the business community, because that's where I belong, were hit most by the pandemic. So what are you going to help them?
Well, first of all, during the pandemic,
I mean, small business, not high
yeah,
tax.
I know. I hear you, because during the pandemic, that's who was affected the most, was our small businesses. So we did things like providing grants, not loans, but grants to our small businesses. We also did things like capping delivery fees for restaurants, for DoorDash and Uber Eats and things like that, because they were really profiting off the backs of our small restaurants and things like that. Unfortunately, my city council put a business tax on the ballot, which it's a head tax, and I voted against it. I think it hurts small businesses when they're at a time where they're trying to recover from this. I think making Santa Clara business friendly is important in terms of the fees and costs to even run a business here in the city. I own my own small business, and I know how hard it is to survive with rents and everything else. So I try to do what I can as the mayor. We have a Silicon Valley Power, which has our electric rates that are lower than most. They have all kinds of opportunities for businesses to get grants and things like that to help them. So I want to keep Santa Clara a very business-friendly community, and it's been a little bit challenging.
Yeah, thank you. It is. I think it's real compared with many other cities. We are really very friendly for the small business.
Right.
But some people believe that challenge for the city has had with the San Francisco 49ers. They start back when they want to buy the city's soccer park. Is that true? So can you just provide your insight?
Oh, sure. And I, just to let you know, was a very, and still am a big proponent of the stadium. I think it's a good thing for Santa Clara, and it really can be a good thing. I had issues, and many Santa Clarans had issues, is that once the stadium was voted on and approved by the residents, the promises that were made by the ownership of the 49ers, they started breaking the promises one by one. And one of those promises was they weren't going to touch the soccer park, and they were going to build extra soccer fields for the kids. So during game days, because it would be difficult to get to the soccer park, they would build these fields. And then once the stadium was built, they said no, they weren't going to do that. So that's where it started. But we were supposed to get a community room, have our creek trail stay open, have neighborhood protections and things, and pretty much that none of those things happened that were promised. My goal is to make sure that we get the type of revenue from the stadium that we were projected to get right now. That should have been at least $50 million of non-NFL revenue, and we've only gotten 20. And so there's been 7 years of no revenue of non-NFL revenue. So my goal is to keep the stadium successful and to make sure that the success also travels to the city, not just the 49er ownership, but the city as well. So that is a big rub now.
Wonderful, yes. Of course, the successful should be benefit our citizens. Yes.
Right,
and
right.
for the city, yes, of course, yes. So you did a wonderful job during the pandemic, helping the city and residents and small business. You even got an award from our church, River of Life.
Foundation.
Yes. I've been in that church for a long time, 15 to 16 years.
Really?
That's my church,
I
yes.
just went to the 15-year anniversary of the River of Life Foundation.
Oh, thank you.
And the generosity of that church and foundation is amazing. They're still feeding people 3 times a week and giving goods out to people that need it. I have never met such a generous and wonderful and loving organization as the River of Life Foundation. And they don't just do their work in Santa Clara, they do it all over the world.
Exactly.
And it's amazing to have that facility and that congregation right here in the city of Santa Clara.
We have so many brothers and sisters that they are full of love and generosity.
Yes, very much so. And I love going over there. I've been working with them for a long time. And they've given me the opportunity to take food out into the community, to St. Justin's Ministry, to our Portuguese community, to our lower income areas in Santa Clara. So their love and their generosity is spread throughout our city, and they continue to do that. And they don't ask for anything in return. I love it. It's just, that's what community is all about.
Yeah, exactly. That's a community all about. And you are really the community-oriented person, and you involved in so many activities because our city is so diverse.
Right.
Yeah, diversity community. And you just join us with that music video. All of us belong right here. You remember?
Well, I have to work on my dancing, and my singing is terrible, but that was the most fun video. And I really want to commend you and Joel for putting that together. It involved so many people. It was beautiful, and we're spreading it all over the place because people need to see that we value everyone here, and we all belong here. This place all belongs to us.
Well,
so
thank you so much. Actually, diversity, equality, and inclusion, that's DEI, right?
Correct.
So you thought about Santa Clara and its comment of the DEI.
Yes.
What do we do? What are we going to do more about this?
Okay, this is really important to me because after the Black Lives Matter movement and all of the issues were coming up about Asian hate crimes and all of anti-Asian sentiment in the area, I worked with 2 young members of our community, Andrew Kanak and Neil Datar, and Kathy Watanabe and Teresa O'Neill, and we put together the task force on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And this task force in Santa Clara consists of a very diverse group of mainly young people that are very independent, come from different backgrounds. And this group is taking a very critical look at all all of our city government. They started with our police department. And because we have an elected police chief, our elected police chief, Pat Nicolai, he agreed to fully cooperate with the group and let him take a really close, a bird's eye view and really close look at our police department and the way it operates, and to get recommendations from them on, is our police department treating the community fairly? Is the police department protecting the community and all members of the community fairly? So they're taking a really good look at that. The second part of their assignment is to go into the community and have what we call listening tours. They're going out to have listening tours to make safe space meetings for members of the community, whether they're teenagers or seniors or the Asian community, the Muslim community, whoever it is, to talk to them to say, hey, this is what I'm worried about in Santa Clara. This is not working. This is where we need help. This is where we're failing as a community. And then they're going to look at our city government to see how we govern and that. So they're an independent committee. They don't rely on us to guide them. They're doing it on their own. COVID had an issue because they tried to do it online through Zoom, but people weren't as comfortable on that. So now that we're coming out of it, they're going to do in-person sessions, and Santa Clara University is going to help them as well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for doing all this.
Yeah.
So talking about COVID, what has COVID taught you?
Wash my hands more.
Keep safe.
Although I was a serial hand washer before that, so I knew that. But what it's taught me is that there is a lot of need in our community. It really showed me firsthand. When it first hit, I was taken by surprise about the economic divide in Santa Clara and how many people need help. But what also made me very happy was the different groups and organizations in the community, and you were one of the first people to contact me through the Chinese Chamber of Commerce, I think.
U.S.-China Chamber of Commerce, yes.
Yeah, I want to give
Silicon
them a
Valley.
plug.
Oh,
U.S.-China Chamber of Commerce. You were
Yes.
one of the first ones to say, hey, we have this PPE for you, and the city, can we drop it off? And remember, in the beginning of the pandemic, none of us had
exactly.
we didn't have any PPE, we didn't have hand sanitizer, we didn't have anything. And you were the first to come and say, hey, here, we want to help. And I think that you were the first, you weren't the only, there's others that followed that, but it did show me what a generous community we have. And all of the very diverse segments of our community were the ones that really pitched in like a lot. And so that made me really happy that people were feeling such a part of Santa Clara that they wanted to help others.
Of course, this is my city. I love my city.
Yeah, I know you do.
That's the least I can do, actually.
Yeah,
I'm so happy that we're living here, and this is such a wonderful place, wonderful city. So talking about, there are so many cities in Silicon Valley. What makes Santa Clara stand out, or what makes Santa Clara different from all the other cities?
It's interesting. We just have a new president of Santa Clara University. It's the first woman lay president. And she asked me the same question a couple days ago, what makes Santa Clara different? And I think that I always call it a tale of two cities. We are the center of the world in terms of Silicon Valley, high tech, entrepreneurship, investment, cutting edge of technology. This is who we are, and we're right in the center of it. Yet we also, our other tagline, first tagline is the center of what's possible. Our little mini tagline is a city with a mission. We have Mission Santa Clara.
Yes.
We have, the old quad, the history, the tradition. We're a small town. We're still a small town. So we have the best of both worlds here, I think, that you can get involved. We're 129,000 people, but we're still a small town, and we still work with each other, try to make it so we don't get lost and people don't fall through the cracks here, that we all are part of a community.
City of what's possible, a city of mission. Yes, that's what I remember, because I heard you said so. So every time I go out and introduce our city, I'm so proud, and I tell people,
And what city can brag for that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And we're also the only city that's building an uptown, which is the related Santa Clara project, and a downtown at the same time.
Yeah, we got,
Yes.
downtown and uptown.
Uptown,
Yes,
right?
yeah,
At the
wonderful,
same
yes.
time, yes.
Exactly. So, but actually, like every city in Silicon Valley, we experienced the budget, during the pandemic. So how our city solved this budget challenges?
We were very lucky going in the pandemic that we had done very, very well with our budget and saved a good amount in our reserves.
Oh.
So it was our reserves that helped get us through, and then we had some government assistance as well that helped get us through the budget. But we took a big hit on sales tax and our bigger hit on hotel tax. We took a big hit onto hotel tax. So we're trying to recover now. I think our hotels are about 65% and climbing. Getting back sales tax a little bit flat. It'll help. I mean, it'll increase later on. One of the big projects that's going to help us in the future is the Related project because it's on 230 acres, and the city, we own the land. So once it gets going, we're going to be able to generate 19 to 25 million a year into our general fund just from that project alone. So that'll help our budget tremendously. We just have to work on this next couple of years, the short-term shortfall, and I think long-term with our electric utility, which is growing Silicon Valley Power. It's growing like crazy. I mean, it's so beneficial for us in the city, and that does put money into our general fund. About 25 million now. It'll increase to 50 and more later. So I think the investments that we've made now are going to pay off for us. We just have to get through these next couple of years.
I feel so fortunate living in this city and working in the city. Yes, wonderful. So homelessness is a problem in all around our state, actually. Under your leadership, how is the city of Santa Clara addressing the problem?
Yeah, this is a really difficult problem, not just for us, but for other cities as well. Was talking to the vice mayor of Milpitas the other day, and we talked about every time San Jose closes an encampment, you know, the homeless, they move, right? They move to Santa Clara, they move to Milpitas, they move, around in the area. So it's like we all have to deal with the same people. Our numbers increased during the pandemic. We were like low 200s, and now we're a little over 300. We have a special department now in our police department that goes out and talks to homeless individuals and tries to connect them with resources, at least the ones that voluntarily want to be connected. And our officers, they don't go in their uniforms, they go plain clothes, so they're more friendly looking
So, yes.
and very helpful. They really try to connect them to resources. And many times it might take, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 6 connections with the same person to get them to, to help them. We have emergency housing funds. We have engaged with Dignity Health to do showers, showers and mobile laundry units. They do come once a week out on the north side of Santa Clara. We have a task force. We just created a task force that we're waiting for their recommendations. They've been doing public engagement about what we need to do. And I think we should be getting a report in November on what our next steps should be. So typically these are county social service issues, but since the pandemic, the county has kind of sent it our way now, and we're taking more of an active role. But we're trying to do it with empathy, but also to protect the community from, garbage and fires and things like that. But also realize that, there are people just like us that are down on their luck for the most part, and they need help. So we're trying to get as much help to them as we can.
I feel like mayor is really the very tough job, very difficult job, but seems like you truly enjoy that and for all these years. So what skills required as a mayor?
Well, first of all, a lot of patience, and you have to be able to listen.
Stay cool.
And you definitely have to stay cool.
Yes.
Sometimes it's difficult. I have my challenges on my city council and things like that. And I have a job, and sometimes we start our meetings at 3 o'clock, and, by the time it hits 12, 1 in the morning, my patience might be at the end, and I might get a little short with people here and there. But I really do my best to try to be professional and to treat our public with respect. Even if, they come up and they're calling me names, I still treat them with respect and give them their time. I always think that people that get involved with the community, they deserve to be heard. And they take their time to either come down to a meeting or call in or write an email or a letter. And we have to respect that because they're my boss. The public is my boss. So I think it's having a good temperament and experience to be able to wade through a lot of stuff and find out what the core issue is, because there's problems that our community has, and it's up to myself and council members to really dig into what is the issue. And sometimes that's hard when things are going back and forth. It's almost like being a judge where you have to weigh everything and then figure out what it is. And the quicker we can do it and the more efficiently we can do it, then we can help the community more. So it's experience, it's temperament, it's patience, and it's you really have to love this job to be able to do it. It's sometimes very thankless, and other times it's the most rewarding thing I could ever do.
Wow, thank you. You
Yeah.
know, I know you since 2016 when you first become the mayor, and I can tell that you really love people. Not only love this job, but I can tell you really love people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I do.
among people, you are always so full of energy and full of passion. That is so amazing, you know. Sometimes, you know, you and me are super busy people. We're
Right.
running around, and you know, for me, I'm the same. I really love
Oh,
people.
I
I
know
enjoy
you
people.
do.
Yeah, I love people. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'm just giving you a plug too, because I love the fact that whenever I'm down here or wherever I am, you bring so many people together, and everybody always has the kindest and nicest compliments about you,
Oh.
because you have the ability to bring people together, and it's your calm temperament and everything that really, I've seen you in situations that are, you know, maybe not going your way or challenging, but you stay on point, you stay on task, and you're so professional. You are really a role model for many young women
Oh, thank
in
you.
your industry too, especially for how you conduct yourself.
Oh, thank you
It's
so
really
much.
admirable.
I feel like I have God's favor, and you have God's favor too. And we're the city of, you know, what's possible, and city of mission. So we have God's blessing, and you have so many great plans for our city and so much love for our people. I hope that you will win this time and continue. So,
Thank
last
you.
question, you know, before we take off, and tell people in 1 minute why they should vote for you.
Well, I love Santa Clara. I love everything about Santa Clara. And you don't have to grow up here to love everything about this city. I think it belongs to so many people. And I understand that. And I understand it's not about me, it's about everyone else and how you want to see this community grow in the future. I do have the experience, I have the love, I have the background, I have the history, but I have the passion for my job, and I have the ability to really put Santa Clara first. And I think that's all you can say about me is no matter what, I look at everything through the lens of our community, and I will always put Santa Clara first.
Thank you so much. Well, I would say that we do need someone like Lisa to be our mayor for our bright future. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.